Alright, so what we're going to be doing today is going through all the grounds because I still have no spark. I looked on the factory service manual and I'm going to be going through all of them, and I'm going to show y'all where they all are, if y'all are having possibly the same issue or just some weird electrical issues. The main one that I'm not looking for is the one from the alternator. It's right up under from there. Alright, so I just got back from O'Reilly's, literally right around the corner. So I have the EFI relay is going to be a green relay like this. When I was looking up on Z31 performance forums and really just any Z forms and on the factory service manual, so turns out, so I'm getting no spark. I'm only getting 10.32 volts to my coil, and when I crank, it goes down to 8.55. I forgot exactly. I can't remember if that is a bad ground or exposed wire. I'm trying to figure that out right now. Because distributor coil either or does not have spark whatsoever. So this EFI relay is actually, it also cranks, or it's linked to the crank angle sensor inside the distributor, and it's a lot easier if you take your battery out. Don't mind this, previous owner exploded a battery in here, but it's right up in here where this relay is right here. This green one will be here. I had a spare brand new relay. It's the same one, and if you need the part number for it so that way you can look it up, it's 25230 C as in Charlie 9965. And also, if you're looking for, where is it at? This is the ignition control. No, it's the ignition relay. The part number on this one, because I work at O'Reilly's and I tried to look this one up under the car 86-300ZX base model BG30. It didn't come up as that. It showed a different 4-pin relay, and I crossed over the part numbers. So if you go, you can even go on the O'Reilly's website and interchange parts on there. Not a lot of people know about that, but the number on this one is 25230 C as in Charlie 9963. And I had just went to O'Reilly's right now. I did get my daily dose of some NOS, and this part number right here, 25-0290, is a import direct relay, and they look exactly the same. This is the new one, this one's the old one. I'm just replacing both because it's possible over time that I've been told also in Z forums, if not a lot of you know, you're barely getting into the factory service manual. I barely just got into it. This is a whole mess right here. So 12-volt relays over time, they could be 30-year-old relays. And I mean, this is an OEM Nissan one, and so is this EFI relay. I was going to use, I had a 92 Nissan hardbody with a KA24. As you can tell, unfortunately, and some parts and pieces are right there because she blew up on me. But I didn't want to use, I know they do work, but I just don't want to use them. I'd rather have a new relay. It's about $31.99. I mean, it's not too bad. If you're not too sure where that one is, I'll show you right here in a second. Up inside your Z. We're gonna go right here to where the fuses are. And we're going right here. These are the relays. Don't be alarmed. This middle one right here, it has nothing connected to it. This one, this is also a brand new relay. It's accessory power. This one is, I believe, blower motor. Nothing goes here. This one is ignition, and one of these, I cannot remember, but that ignition relay goes right here. Okay, so now we got the new relay in. It is right here. It'll be a little bit of a pain, so if you have baby hands like me, it's definitely helpful. All the way down. I read in the factory service manual that it leads to a bolt on the frame. You want the bolt to lead to a frame because the Z's do not like low voltage, and then it goes to the starter. I have a new starter and a new alternator that I'm going to be putting in so I can better clean those grounds. And so we're gonna go ahead and start cleaning that one. I'm gonna wait to clean that one actually. There's one right next to it. It doesn't look as dirty, but I want all my grounds clean as possible because this has been a headache. And if you're working on them, then it's definitely going to be a headache. By the way, this is an 86 Z31 NA, obviously. I prefer NA, not the turbo. It is a 5-speed, as you can see. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, 5-speed right there. Interior's in decent shape, but not that dash. That dash, no. And as if you can tell right there, my mirror decided to had other plans. It did not want to live life anymore. But all right, we're gonna get down into it. I'm gonna show you each and every ground where I found them. So let's get into it. So there's a ground right here. It's a 10 mil bolt, and I just go through all and just clean them regardless, because better having a cleaner ground than it was before than actually it causing corrosion in the near future. So it's just a simple 10 mil. I do recommend to take out the battery. It makes it a whole lot easier. And this one's definitely in there. And I do recommend cleaning up your bolts as well. Now that this ground is super clean now, I recommend even cleaning inside right there. You can still see it. Oxidization getting there. Now let's put it back on. Make sure that's nice and snug. And then that one's all good to go. We're gonna get to the next one. There is one right here. It's an engine ground. Now I got that one back up. It's all cleaned up. We're gonna get on right on to the next one. So right here where this is, I believe this is for vacuum, I want to say. But there's a bolt right here that's a ground. You'll see these 3 bolts, and then right below it there's a ground right here. And I'm not gonna take all this stuff, so I just got a 3" 3/8 with a 10 mil on it just to get it off. It's a lot easier. For our next ground is going to be right here at the end of the plenum. You'll see 2 bolts, and you'll see that one right there. And if you're wondering, this it's not essentially a ground. It leads down here and it plugs into this one, I believe, to another connector that slides in there. Oh no, not that one. It looks like a little ball. That little ball right there with that bolt, that's actually for the radio noise, and a lot of people on the forum say it's quite useless. So I thought it was a ground at first, but it's actually not. So like I said, this one right here is at the very end of the plenum on that second bolt right there. So we're gonna go ahead and clean that one up. It looks a bit iffy, you know. Oh, now that I actually noticed, there's actually 2. There's 2 on there. That one big one and then that smaller one. So it was essentially 2 right there on the same one. So this one is going to be a 10 mil as well. I think I'm tightening it. Yeah, it's going to be a 10 mil. Let's see here. Make sure if you have a magnet, for surely try not to drop that bolt, because I've dropped so many bolts while doing these grounds. And also other bolts, and they are lost in this engine bay. It never hit the floor. So everybody knows that that's always fun. Funny story, when I was doing the other ground over there by the strut tower, this screw right here, how it's sticking up for the top of the, like the plenum cover, I guess you could say. I had dropped the ground bolt over there, that one that's hidden on the tower, and I lost this bolt like 3 years ago, and that was the only one that I lost. And I ended up using a magnet fishing this one out, and then 20 minutes later I fished the other one that I needed out. So I guess it was kind of a win-win. So yeah, on this one, it's 2 grounds. They're just connected over on top of each other. So both of those grounds are now clean. Make sure you clean here where it mounts on. Clean all up in there. Make sure like you'll see a little bit of the connector, not connector, but the wire, like exposed in the middle. And I did notice this one has 2. So I'm wondering, 2 wires leading to it. So like how exposed right there. Make sure you get in there too, because I did see a little bit of corrosion there. I've seen that in other wires as well. That could still be a bad connection. And the first one that went on there was the one with the 2 wires, and then the one on top of it with the 10 mil bolt. Okay, so we just finished that one. I took a moment to clean all around here so I'm not losing anything, dropping any bolts. I just cleaned out the back. Not really clean, but yeah, I gotta address this pretty soon here so that doesn't go all the way through. It kind of looks bad right there. But I had all the parts in the back here, and I wanted to bring them and put them over here and everything. And then I wanted my parts table on my parts table to pretty much as essentially, I wanted to organize is what I mean, because I'm not always organized, and I'd rather have everything over here on the table. It's actually nice having a table for once, but it is nasty back here. I'm surprised I still got the original donut. It's a bit more crusty in here, and I did find a couple more grounds, and I am gonna have to do some research on that, the fuel pump relay, so I can show you that relay where that's at, because I need to find that as well. And then there's a ground for that relay. So now that I got my flashlight, it might like beam a little bit. Let me see if I can get up under here. But you'll see a wire. It's I am not taking this intake tube back off because it was a pain to get it back on. And I still got to put this hose back on right here. I believe that's the idle control valve. I believe so. But you'll see a wire, that little black wire. Let's make it better. Right here. This right here, there's a, there we go, that black wire right there. That is a ground. You can see it leads up to right there to that bolt, and that's right under the intake tube. And I'm not gonna address that one today, just like I'm not gonna address the one on the, like, the frame to the starter negative. I'm gonna completely replacing the cable. And there is, obviously, there's the ground on the coil. I don't remember which wire that is. Don't mind this wiring. I'm just testing a lot of things right now. And behind the alternator, I did see that there is 2 grounds on there on the factory service manual. I'm not going to address that today because I was going to take off the alternator and show y'all, but I have the OEM alternator right there, and I don't want to use that OEM alternator. This guy named Phil, he's helping me out, figure some things out. Why I'm not getting spark at the dizzy or the coil. Gone through a lot of things, and the I believe 90s, early 2000s Nissan Maxima on the factory service manual that it's plug and play on there, so it'll go from a 70 amp alternator, it's 60-70 amp on the Z, the OEM one, to 100 amp. So that way the factory service manual also says I can run electric fans. They're Ford Taurus fans, and I can go to the junkyard and just get them, or I can buy them new at O'Reilly's. So I can get away with that and have more room in here, because I also do have, I don't have it in my storage, but I also do have my, I found a 86 Turbo Z at the junkyard here in San Antonio like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and this guy was already pulling the motor, and he was, thankfully enough, I only got the turbo and somewhat of the downpipe. I just cut it off because I was just being stupid and I didn't think about that then. So soon it'll be like how like Z Garage, how his is an 86, different interior, NA. His is an NA 2T. Probably gonna go with a bunch of Godzilla Raceworks parts. But yeah, that ground under there in the intake tube, and that one right, the 2 for the alternator. That's, I believe, all the ones that I know here. And in the inside, there's 2 under this seat, and I'm gonna take a look at those right at this very moment. So yeah, I'm not gonna address that one either. It's a bit nasty under there. I got a vacuum under that. So there is 2 under there, or it might be like on the side leading up to it, to the wiring of the connectors for under the seat. Little quick view of inside. Don't mind the dash, it was nasty. When I first got it, the mirror just straight crumbled off. Previous owner, actually, his kid spilled blue Fun Dip all over that shift boot. It was nasty to clean out because it was sitting there for a while. And I remember reading in the factory service manual, there is like a ground connector up in here. I'm not going to pull that off because I don't want to mess it up. I've already broken some pieces in here, and I don't want to break any more. I'm trying to be gentle. And I did notice there is a ground right here. Looks a little bit dirty, so it couldn't hurt to clean that one up. And I believe that black one right there looks like a ground. Yeah. It looks like a ground. It's essentially, it looks like the noise dampener or the noise suppression, what they call the one that leads to the one under the one that's on the distributor. That's what I've been, yeah, that's what I've been told, and it kind of looks like something like that, but it could also still be a ground. There's one right here. So that one's all cleaned up now. And I was just scavenging for the fuel pump relay. There's a ground next to it as well. And I did not know, if you are looking for your speakers in the back, I didn't know that they were on top of right here. Okay, I did some digging on the factory service manual and online, And I figured out you come to your passenger side, and when they say B pillar, that means here. So what I did was I got a thick flathead. They said it was inside this vent. So the way I did it is I just slid it under and I popped it out so I didn't break it. And it'll come right out. And get up under here. I didn't see anything at first. I was like, oh, it's gotta be wrong. And then I did see the wire. Here, let me get my other flashlight. If you, oh. You can see that right there. Sorry about the, it's right there. Yeah, right there. And I'm not too sure how to get it unbolted, but at least I know where the fuel pump relay is now, and y'all know too. Alright, so I'm actually going to show you how I ended up getting it off. So if you've messed with your EFI relay, and this one's the uphold relay, and the way that they have how you slide this metal bracket onto the connector, not my bad, not the connector, but there's a little spot where you can slide it onto the relay. That's what it's being held up against. There's no bolt or no nothing. It's being held up against, and it's up in there. I can't get a really good view of it. How I did to get that out is I used the same flathead. I was about to pry on the end of the connector, but I didn't. I got really lucky right here. I put it right there. Since I'm going to replace it, I popped it like that. So if you're looking for the fuel pump relay, and that's how you know how to get it out. All right, so I just popped that off. It's probably an original relay, yeah, Nissan. And if you have, it's hard if you have hands, just press on this. It's really old. It should like just give it a little bit of tug and try to just hold this, and it should come right out. So I'm gonna be replacing that relay. Hopefully I don't forget. So that was relays and grounds that I know of. I believe that was all of the relays and all of the grounds that I'm aware of. I did just remember on the factory service manual, I have yet to find it. I'm confused by it. But up in there where I showed y'all the relays up in there, where the accessory, it's the accessory relay, blower motor, it's an empty spot, and then the fuel, no, not fuel pump, ignition relay, and then something to do with the ASCD, like the power windows, and I forgot what else it was. But there's a from the coil, a wire leads up to a small resistor that has 2.2 ohms. I believe it's called ohms, that little horseshoe I saw in the factory service manual. It that leads to the speedometer, tachometer, however you want to call it. And if you're facing an issue like I am, like that's also why I'm showing you all where the grounds are, if you might be facing an issue that I am. Because I got no spark, and I'm just checking on my grounds just to be sure, cleaning them all regardless, even though if they look clean, there's a little something on it, still been cleaning it. I've yet to find that resistor, because that I believe is possible that I won't have spark, but my ECU is bad. Unfortunately, it is bad. I think it's like 2 capacitors and some other things that is wrong with it. But let me see here. I believe I showed all, and your fusible links are right here. And yeah, I've checked mine are good. And the other relays, obviously they're here. If yours isn't labeled, the ASCD front, lamp check, that warning, all of that right there. Obviously, yours is an automatic, you won't have an AT1. I just wanted to give a quick rundown. I'm having to replace a lot of things on here. This car sat for a while, and I did confirm the rotor might be off from timing. The timing belt is still on because I took off the timing cover bolts, some there, to pry it back and see if I can find like on the edge of it here. I pried it back with a little flathead, and right there I just wanted to make sure that it was still connected and it wasn't, the timing belt wasn't snapped, just to be safe. And I'm having to replace a lot of stuff. So what just came in is my new distributor. And where is it at? The new distributor came in, and those are some of the relays and some of the brake light switch. So I only have the upper and the lower radiator hose. I still have to get all of the heater hoses, all of the coolant hoses. Waiting on that. I'm getting the cylinder head temperature sensor. I want to get a new harness, and then I believe it is TX13 standard product, just like that one right there. It's a newer, I believe, a Pathfinder coolant temp sense. So ours on these cars are dry, and then essentially what you're doing is you're taking a bolt out, and it's the same thread when you're putting the coolant temperature sensor in there. If you want to see that video on that is on the Z Garage. He's a really nice guy. He's very helpful in the Z community. He has helped out a lot, and I have gotten a lot of his parts. I still need to, I want to get that feasible link box for from his, so that way that's already a fixed issue. But I have a lot of parts. I got to do suspension, brakes. I got the fuel pump. Still got to clean the tank. I got intake. And what I'm going to do next is the, I have that, it's a black box. That black box right there. Water pump, timing belt. And I want to get the stud for it. And I believe the tensioner is in there already in the belt. It's the kit. I haven't opened it up yet. But I wanted to replace everything coolant system wise, and then possibly make sure it, verify myself it is in time, replace the belt because it did look nasty. Fix all that, and then make sure I am at top dead center and actually put the new distributor in, so that way, you know, if that other one still happens to be good, I've replaced the crank angle sensor inside there. That's a whole brand new unit, so I'd rather put a whole brand new unit in it. I already spent the money for it, but you know, starter, coolant, valve cover gasket, I already put new plug wires on it. Oil filter, thermostat, the thermostat housing, manual transmission fluid, 2 of every single belt, and a whole bunch of other stuff that I still have in my house. If you're looking for the O-rings for the Z, and so the regular O-rings was about 15 bucks on the zgarage.net, and also on the zgarage.net he just came out with E85 O-rings. So if you wanted to, if you're doing like NA2T, you're going more power and all like that, whatever, go for that as well. And what I did want to show y'all is I had a 92 D21, and these clears came off of it, and they are actually the same size. Those are the turn signals, and honestly I think OEM headlights, maybe probably get some aftermarket ones, replacing those, they're all nasty and crusty. I like clear, like the clear housing where you're able to see through it. Those clear housing would look amazing through that. All right guys, well, that is it for the video. I'll see y'all in the next one.